to a new tutorial by Irene's Corner. This tutorial is gonna be a beginner-friendly mosaic crochet video. So we're gonna be working together this simple mug rug pattern in mosaic crochet, of course, and we are going to first learn how to read a mosaic chart, and then we're gonna work the rug together. So there will be a timestamp for this video, so if you don't want to learn about how to read the chart, like if you've been doing mosaic crochet for a while, then you can skip to the part that you want to watch. So for this simple mug rug pattern, I'm gonna have the chart together with the written instructions available on my blog, so I'll put links down in the description box. For this mug rug, we're gonna need 2 different colors of yarn together with a suitable hook size and a pair of scissors. So let's get started first with the chart and how to read a mosaic crochet chart. Okay, so for the crochet chart, the mosaic crochet chart, and usually for any crochet chart, we usually start reading the chart from the bottom right side. So this is usually where we start. This is our starting point. Now for mosaic crochet, we work each row with one color and we don't carry the other color along with us. So if, as we can see here in the first column, if we're going to start with color A, so A and B are the different colors that we're going to use. Row 1 says color A, that means that I'm going to use color A throughout the row. And then for row 2, if I'm working in rows, I'll cut color A at the end of this row. And then join color 2, which is color B, and start working my second row with color B. And then for the third row, I'm gonna go back to color A and so on. So each row is worked in one color. Although, as you can see that we have different colors in each row, but we're gonna learn how this happens with mosaic crochet. So this is kind of an advantage for mosaic crochet, that you don't carry yarn, you don't worry about if the yarn is showing from the other side or not and the tension of it. So it's easier to work with colors without carrying over other yarn. Okay, now as we've mentioned, this first column right here where it says AB, AB, this is the column that indicates which color we're going to use for that specific row. So for row 1, I'm using color A. For row 2, it's B. For row 3, I'm going back to color A. And then row 4, B, and so on. And then for the numbers, we have the numbers going along the side right here. This is the number of rows. And the numbers going at the base right here. These are the number of stitches that we are working to get that pattern done. Okay, now the AB column, we discussed that. Next, we're gonna have a column that says SC and a similar column at the end of the chart. SC stands for single crochet. So for the first and last stitch for this pattern, we are working regular single crochet. And then the pattern, the mosaic pattern, is what is between these 2 columns. So my pattern is right there. So if I want to make this pattern on a larger scale, then I'm going to repeat what's in between these 2 columns here, and then there will be 1 single crochet at the beginning and 1 single crochet at the end. Okay, now if we look closer at the chart, we're gonna see that we have 4 different squares. We have squares that are blue, we have squares that are white, and then we have squares that are blue with letter X inside it, and squares that are white with letter X inside it. Now, how do we do mosaic crochet? The two main stitches that we use for mosaic crochet are the single crochet in the back loop only and double crochet in the front loop of the stitch that is 2 rows below. Okay, these are the two main stitches that make a simple mosaic crochet pattern. Now there are a couple of different advanced variations, but we're not going to be discussing this here. Okay, so if we see an empty square, I'm not going to talk about colors right now. I'm just talking about having an X inside the square or an empty square. So if it's an empty square, that means we're working a single crochet in the back loop only of that stitch there. If we see or if we come across a square that has a letter X inside it, that means that we are working a double crochet in the front loop of the stitch 2 rows below. So if you look, for example, at this square right here, stitch number 11 and row 3, it has an X. That means that I'm gonna extend a double crochet 2 rows below, so to row 1, and I'll find the front loop of that stitch and work a double crochet into it. All right, now what happens, and this is probably the most confusing part in reading a chart of mosaic crochet. Now for example, row number 2, this is worked in white if B is white, so we're gonna stick to the same colors we have on the chart. Now if I'm working row number 2 in color B, which is white, that means that these two squares are gonna be worked in white. So why are they in blue? The idea is the pattern is not telling you to work them in blue. Actually, we know that we're gonna work the whole row in white, but since these two squares are empty regardless of the color, that means that we're gonna use the white yarn to do 2 single crochet in the back loop. And then when we come to row 3, when we start working with the blue color or color A, when we come here, we're gonna see that we have a square that has letter X. That means we're doing a double crochet in the front loop. So we're gonna extend a double crochet in front of the white that we have right here to row number 1 and work a double crochet. So the extended double crochet that we're gonna do from row 3 to row 1 will cover the white that we have right here. And we're gonna see that when we come to crocheting the pattern together. So although we are working with white yarn through row 2, we can see that we have blue squares, but we are gonna ignore the color. All what we focus on when we are reading a mosaic chart is whether the square has a letter X or no. If it has a letter X, then we're doing a double crochet 2 rows below. If it's an empty box, then that means we're working a single crochet in the back loop. What indicates which color that we are going to use for that row is the first column here. Okay, so that's basically the simplest way of understanding a mosaic crochet chart. Ignore the colors within the pattern. Your reference will always be this column right here where it says AB, AB, and then in the pattern just focus where there is an empty square or a square that has a letter X inside it. All right, now for our mug rug pattern, this is a pattern based on a multiple of 4 plus 3. So a multiple of 4, if we ignore the first and the last stitches, the SC columns, we're gonna see that we have 28 stitches in between, which is a multiple of 4. And then plus 3, so 1 for this single crochet, 1 for this single crochet, and then 1 extra stitch as a turning chain for the first row. Okay, and then the repeat for the rows. So if you want to make it like a bigger piece of mosaic crochet with repeated rows, then your pattern is being repeated between row 4 and row 9. This is the repeat for your pattern. So row 4 up to row 9, this is the repeat for my pattern. So after you finish row 16 actually is a repeat of row 4. So after you finish row 16, if you want to add more, then you go back to row 5 and start the pattern again up to row 9. This is the repeat for our pattern. Okay, what if you want to convert this pattern into working in the round instead of working in rows? So again, the pattern is a multiple of 4. So if you want to work in the round, you want to make sure that the number of stitches that you start with is a multiple of 4. And then when we are working in the round with mosaic crochet, we ignore the first and the last column where it says single crochet. We don't do these 2 stitches. So our pattern will go in the round seamlessly. So once we end this side, you're gonna end in this stitch right here, and then go back to stitch number 2 and continue your pattern again, continue your repeat again. So we don't do the single crochet of the beginning and ending of working in the rows. Okay, so it will just be a multiple of 4. And then one more thing about working in the round is that we don't cut the yarn at the end of the row, because we're working in the round, so we can easily pull the yarn from the same point every time we need that color. So we don't cut the yarn at the end of the row. We're gonna cut it today because we're working in rows and not in rounds. So we'll have to reattach the color every time we start a new row. And with mosaic crochet, we always go from the right to the left. So we always work on one side only of the pattern, and we attach the new yarn or the new color on the right side of the work, and we work our row to the left side. All right, now let's get started. Get your yarn ready and let's crochet together the simple mug rug pattern. Okay, so as we have said, to start this pattern we're gonna need 31 chains, 30 for the chart or 30 for the pattern, and then 1 extra chain as a turning chain. So this is what I did right here. I'm gonna do a smaller scale with you in the video just to save time. So again, as we have mentioned, this pattern is based on a multiple of 4 plus 3. So I'm gonna just go with a small scale. I'm gonna do 12 stitches plus 3. That will get me to 15 stitches. Now to start, I'm gonna leave a tail of about 15 to 20 centimeters. All the tails that we're gonna leave on both sides, that will make the sides of our rug like this. Okay, so here is my tail. You can just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be like 15 centimeters accurately measured. And then we're gonna start with a knot, and I'm gonna chain 15 chains. Again, a multiple of 4, that is 12 plus 3, that brings me to 15. There's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Now the first chain, this is a turning chain, so we're not gonna work into that stitch. We're gonna start working into the second stitch from the hook. Now for the first row of our pattern, we have a row that doesn't have any X's, because as we have said, if there is an X, that means we're extending a double crochet to 2 rows below. And since this is the first row, so we're just working single crochet throughout this row. Okay, so I'm gonna turn my chain to expose the bump, and I'm gonna work a row of single crochet. Okay, so I've reached the end of row 1, and now I have 14 stitches done. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna leave the same length as the tail that I left for the foundation chain, and then I'm gonna cut my yarn and pull that tail through the loop to close the stitch. Okay, now this is gonna be my working side. It's always gonna be this side that we are working on. Now we are ready to move to row 2, and in row 2 right here we have color B. That's what we're gonna work row 2 with. And for the first stitch we're gonna do a single crochet, and then for the second row as well we don't have any X's throughout the row, so we're doing a row of single crochet in the back loop. Now we're gonna start working in the back loop. So for the first row, because we're working in a foundation chain, we worked a row of single crochet. But starting row 2 and further into the chart, any empty square is gonna be worked as a single crochet in the back loop. So here is row 1. I'm gonna leave it for a second here to get color 2 ready. And again, I'm gonna leave about 15 centimeters of length for the tail, and then start a slip knot. Adjust the size of the knot right here, and then I'm gonna come here to the first stitch of row 1, go under the 2 loops of the stitch this way, and pull that loop. So pull it through, and then chain 1. This way we have color B attached to our work, and we're ready to start working row 2. So I'm gonna go back into that first stitch one more time and work a regular single crochet. As we have agreed, for working in rows, we start with a single crochet and we end our row with a single crochet. Now, color B, row 2, all the row is worked in single crochet in the back loop. So here is my front loop and my back loop. I'll insert the hook under the back loop and work my single crochet. So I'll have the front loop available. It's still available right here. We didn't work under it. Okay, so we're working under the back loop only. And we're gonna continue working a single crochet in the back loop until we have 1 stitch only. And for that stitch, we're gonna work a single crochet, a regular single crochet. Okay, so I've reached the last stitch right there, so I'm gonna go under the 2 loops and do a regular single crochet. Okay, one more time. I'm gonna leave the same length as the tail below it and cut my yarn and pull it through to close that loop. All right, so I have row 1 and row 2 done. Now let's look at row 3. So for row 3, we're working with color A. So I'm gonna use my teal color. And for the first stitch, I'm working a single crochet. And then I have 2 squares, each has an X. That means that I'm working a double crochet in the front loop of the stitch 2 rows below. So I'm gonna go into the stitch of row 1 in the front loop of that stitch and work a double crochet. This is for the first 2 stitches. And then for the next 2 stitches, I'm working 2 single crochet in the back loop. And then the pattern gets repeated. So 2 double crochet, 2 single crochet, 2 double crochet, 2 single crochet. And for short, I'm saying double crochet, but I mean the double crochet of the front loop 2 rows below. And when I say single crochet, it's always single crochet in the back loop. Okay, so again, let's put this down for a second and we get color A ready. So leave 15-ish centimeter, about that, and make a loop. Adjust the size of it, and then grab your project, insert your hook into the first stitch right there. Oops. And then pull that loop through and chain 1. Okay, now my color A is secured. I'm gonna go back into that same stitch and work a single crochet. Okay, and now we're gonna start our pattern, 2 double crochet, 2 single crochet. So the double crochet is worked 2 rows below, so it's not in that stitch, it's in the stitch underneath it. And since we worked single crochet in the back loop, we have the front loop right here still available. Okay, so let's start a double crochet by yarning over, and then we go into that free loop from the bottom up this way, yarn over and pull a loop. Now we have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. And we're gonna repeat it one more time. So yarn over into the next stitch right here in the front loop, yarn over, pull a loop, yarn over, go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. Okay, and we're gonna skip these 2 stitches right here in row 2, and then we have 2 single crochet. So now we're working in row 2, we're gonna work under the back loop only and do a single crochet and another single crochet. Okay, and this is the repeat throughout the pattern until we reach the last stitch where we're working a regular single crochet. But before we continue, let's now look right here and compare what we've done to what is on the chart. So we're looking at row 3. We started with a single crochet, which is right here. We did 2 front loop double crochet, and then 2 single crochet in the back loop. And now that we have extended the double crochet right there, it's now that post is covering the white that is making row 2. And that is why in row 2 you see blue color showing in a row that you're working it in white. Okay, so whenever you see a color that is different than the color you have on your hook, like 100%, there will be something coming from the row that you're gonna work next to cover it up, to hide it. Okay, now we're gonna repeat the pattern. So double crochet in the front loop 2 rows below, 1 more, followed by 2 single crochet in the back loop, and then I have 1 more repeat to do. And then 2 single crochet right here. And for the last stitch, as shown on the chart, we have to do a regular single crochet. And then again, cut your yarn and pull through the loop. Okay, now we're gonna attach color B. Now we have color B ready for row number 4. So let's look at our chart first. Row 4, worked in color B, start with a single crochet, and then we have 2 empty squares, that means 2 single crochet, and then we have 2 squares that have X's, that means we are extending a double crochet in the front loop of the stitch 2 rows below. So 2 single crochet, 2 double, 2 single, 2 double, and so on until the end of the row. Okay, so we're gonna start first with the first single crochet. Here it is, and then we're gonna start our pattern. So on top of the double crochet, we are working a single crochet in the back loop and 1 more. And then next we're gonna work 2 double crochet 2 rows below. So this is row number 3, we're going into row number 2. And when we do double crochet, we always do it in the row that is made with the same color that we currently have on our hook. So if I'm working with color B, then I'm doing my double crochet in the row that is or has been made in color B. Okay, so let's do a double crochet. Here is the front loop right there, and finish your double crochet and 1 more. Okay, and in the last stitch right here, a regular single crochet, and then cut your yarn. As I've said, if you're working this pattern in the rounds, then you don't cut your yarn, you just drop the color that you're working with and you pick the color, the next color for the next row. Okay, so here is the end of row 4. Now let's look at row 5. So row 5, worked in color A, we start with a single crochet, and then throughout the row there are no X's at all, so we're working a row of single crochet in the back loop until we reach the last stitch where we're working a regular single crochet. A regular single crochet in the first stitch, and then a row of single crochet in the back loop. So continue working in the back loop until you reach the last stitch, and we're gonna do a regular single crochet into that stitch. Okay, and after finishing the single crochet, cut off the yarn. All right, now let's look at row number 6, and this one is made in color B. We're gonna start with a single crochet and then 2 squares with X's. That means we're doing a double crochet in the front loop 2 rows below. So we're gonna work it into row 4, and then 2 single crochet in the back loop. Okay, so let's start the row. I did the single crochet, the first single crochet, and then we're gonna do 2 double crochet. So again, this is a row 5. I'm gonna work into row 4, sorry. I'm currently in row 6, so I'm gonna work in row 4. And again, one checkpoint that like tells that we're working correctly is that row 4 is the same color as the color I have on my hook. Okay, so yarn over into the front loop right here, pull a loop and finish the double crochet, and then one more double crochet right there, and then 2 single crochet in the back loop, and repeat the pattern. And then when we get to the last stitch, we work a regular single crochet. Now let's look at row 7. So row 7 is worked in color A, single crochet in the first stitch, then 2 empty squares, so that will be 2 single crochet in the back loop, and then 2 double crochet in the front loop 2 rows below, so that will be worked in row 5. So I already attached my color A and I worked the first single crochet. Then we're gonna work a single crochet in the back loop and a second one, and then a double crochet in row 5. So in this row right here, that is already made, it has already been made in color A. Okay. And the pattern gets repeated from there. So 2 single crochet again, and then 2 double crochet. Okay, again, always check your work against your chart and see if they look similar, or if there is anything that doesn't match, then there is probably a mistake in the work. Okay, now we have row 8. So row 8 is made in color B. Start with a single crochet, and then throughout the pattern or the row there is no X's at all. That means that I'm working a row of single crochet in the back loop only. Okay, so I've attached color B and I did the single crochet, and then I'm gonna work a simple row of single crochet in the back loop until I finish it with a regular single crochet. All right, row number 9. Row 9 is made of color A. Start with a single crochet, and then we have 2 double crochet followed by 2 single crochet. So I've attached color A, and then I'm gonna do the single crochet, the first stitch, and then we're gonna work 2 double. So we are working them in row 7. Followed by 2 single crochet, 1 and 2, and the pattern gets repeated. crochet in the last stitch, cut the yarn and secure your knot. Okay, so here is the end of row 9. Now, as I have said earlier, the repeat is row 4 to row 9. So starting row 10 is a repeat of row 4. So you can go back to where we did row 4 and follow the video together with the chart and repeat the rows again until you finish. If you want to do the same pattern as mine here for the mug rug, then you want to do up to row number 16. This is the full pattern, so 30 stitches and 16 rows, and this is the smaller scale of it. Now next I'm gonna show you how I trim the ends. Now I am ready to trim the tails on both sides. So what I'm gonna do is, on a flat surface, I'm just gonna kind of brush them with my hand so they are flat, they are laying flat. And then I'm gonna get a small piece of tape, and I'll just make sure that they are all flat this way, and I'll just hold them like this. And then with my scissors, I'm gonna cut them all to the same length. And by this, we come to the end of our tutorial today for the simple mosaic mug rug pattern. I want to thank you for watching, and if you have any questions regarding this pattern, please leave me a comment down in the comment section. All the links will be in the description box. If you want to practice more mosaic crochet patterns, I have my patterns, like that videos are on the channel, and the written patterns are available on my Ravelry store. Again, the link will be down in the description box. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time with a new tutorial. Take care and keep crocheting.